all set.
Good evening. I'm going to call this meeting to order. Planning Commission on February 18th, 2025. We're going to start with a board member roll call. We'll start with Jimmy.
Jim Winchester.
We don't have anybody on TV, right?
No board members.
Okay.
David Powell.
Brian Harris.
Stacy Boxer.
And John Bashy. And then we'll have approval of agenda, approval of minutes for February 4th, 2025. Then we'll have town plan updates, select board follow-up. Then we'll have town plan updates for planning and discussion. Then we'll move to municipal sewer, follow-up and a discussion on that. And then we'll planning commission live stream discussion, then public comment and adjourn. So I'll look for a motion in a second to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Then we'll go to approval of minutes for February 4th. Look for a motion in a second on that.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Then we'll go to town plan updates, select board follow-up. So what's,
Yeah, so at the work session, you guys discussed, just for anybody that wasn't here, BCRC was looking to see if they could help us with the bylaw updates. When they were looking at our bylaws, they realized our town plan is gonna be expiring in 2 years, so it's time to start working on that now. They didn't want us to start doing bylaw updates, have to turn around and do the town plan updates, and then turn around and do bylaw updates again. So you guys sent a letter, that John drafted to the board asking for permission to work on the town plan instead of, the bylaws at this point. Tara brought that up at select board meeting last week. They approved that, so you guys have the go-ahead to work on the town plan.
perfect.
So being new on the block, I don't understand a lot of this, but we have some mandates from the state in terms of bylaws. So we're going to ignore those potentially for 2 years.
So those will supersede, we'll have an understanding that those will supersede our bylaws, the state bylaws. They just won't be written in at this point.
Okay.
Because when we do the town plan updates, a lot of things that go into effect might change our bylaws.
Okay.
So we'll just do them all at one time, but we will have that understanding that, like, so if a zoning permit is brought into the town or something, it'll really be more applicable to Mike, our zoning administrator, and then the DRB board. They'll just have to know that those rules are overriding our bylaws.
Okay. And the town plan has an 8-year shelf life? I was thinking it was 10.
5 years?
Go ahead.
No,
I heard 6 years on it, but that was back when we did it. I think it is longer.
Do I hear 7?
But still, we have a bunch of things that the town plan is gonna be coming due.
Yeah. So I'm all for that. I just felt like
That was the whole,
and I'd like to know what it is.
right, and that was our whole discussion.
It is 8, I did look it up.
It's 8
because
years.
I always thought it was 10 as well. I
Okay.
don't know where I thought that.
It is 8?
It is.
Yeah, 8
Okay.
years.
Okay. So it's 8 years long.
Look,
I'm making a note.
I Google searched it. It is, let's see, legislature.vermont.gov.
Okay. That's cool.
Does that fall for the?
Site has 24 VSA subsection 4387. Section A, all plans including all prior amendments shall expire every 8 years unless they are readopted according to the procedures in section 4385 of this title.
And that calls for,
Thank God for Google.
and that covers bylaws too?
That just says for town plan.
Okay. That could be different, maybe.
Subchapter 5 municipal development plan.
Okay. But still, yeah, we're gonna be running time to get it.
That's
And
a big chunk
the
of
changes that are coming, we're gonna look at some changes in that. And with those changes, we're gonna be changing the bylaws again. So we didn't
Yeah,
want
I understand.
want
Yeah, I just trying to.
3 in a row.
Handle on.
Right.
how things go.
BCRC actually did us a solid. They could have easily just gotten the hours out of us
Yes.
and done the work twice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So that's what we're gonna work on. Okay, so we did the update on that. We know we can work forward now at this point from select board.
All right, one more related question then. That BCRC town center proposal they did with all those wonderful bells and whistles. It would seem like that we should look at in conjunction with the town plan to see what we want to maybe roll in and what we don't, or is that not how it works?
I think we're gonna be looking at that too, part of it, when we rewrite it. That isn't fully written. It was, that was a proposal and a.
Oh, yeah.
So that, last time I heard it wasn't done yet as far as a final step.
Oh, really?
So-
Okay.
They presented that PowerPoint
Yeah,
and then they said we'll have a final report
that's
with
right.
even more details in it.
Okay.
So we are waiting for that final report. Scott Germein, he's been reached out to and he did say they're working on it, so we should have it soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
And that will be something that you should look at for the.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, we'll incorporate that and, or things in it. All right, so town plan updates, planning and discussion, it kind of goes along with what we're just doing. Anybody have anything else they want to add for the town plan stuff? I know, Brian has mentioned things like that too, as far as getting, want to add more about business and things like that in it. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that kind of stuff. Well, is there ideas of things that we can mark down to get started on things of what we're looking at as far as changes that people want to potentially see or want to look into or that kind of stuff. Now, adding business in is what we didn't have before you guys have all gotten on. We were working on land or locations for industrial use because in the original write-up of it, or when we redid the bylaws, that was written out. It was, all the sections were out of it. So that left us.
It doesn't limit properties
Right.
to changing. It just simply adds an additional potential use to, there was a few properties that the BCRC showed that could potentially be used for that. So by no means does this mean we're going to be ripping up good farmland to put, a coal factory in.
What about multifamily in Pownell Center area?
For housing?
Yeah.
I think it's
Home Act, yeah.
Some of that's already in there. We do look through it though, absolutely.
Well, that's in the new Home Act too. So we've been superseded. It's allowed.
Yeah, yeah, the Act 47 part of that is the new laws on it. So there's all those types of things are what are going to be putting in. But as far as the plan where we write it in, we got to make sure that we're writing stuff that equals to that. So we can't leave language.
Can we
out that-
dictate
from our
what
plan.
areas of town it goes in though?
From which area?
Like, can they put, multifamily in North Pownell as opposed
Oh, I
to
think,
Pownell Center?
isn't that restricted to where there was water and sewer?
It's where water and sewer is,
Okay.
right now, but
So that follows.
we don't have any
But-
actual town water, so I don't know how that's gonna play in. That's gonna be another question to the BCRC when we get going with them. Because we don't have any municipal water. The only thing is South Pownell has, through the firehouse, has a water source that they regulate on their own.
Is that because they had bad water there?
There was some bad wells and in some areas there were some bad wells, but that was something that they had set up a fire, for the fire department, water resource stuff. So they had some places, I know I don't know how many it is, but they have houses hooked up to it. But they regulate all that, so it has nothing to do with town.
Scott from BCRC, he did say that, the fire district water, which I do want to try to get you a map because I think there's 3 different fire districts.
Yes.
So I want to get you guys a map because I don't know exactly where they start and stop. So I'll look into that this week. But Scott did say that those would be considered municipal water areas because they are quasi-municipal, because they're run by the fire districts or the fire department. So
So what is the fire department has,
Yeah.
sewer and water.
fire department has wells drilled for their use and then they,
Do you know that like pump house that's down in Pownell? like the,
On
there's the
346?
farmhouse. Yes, on 346.
Yeah.
Yeah, water comes from, that's one of their locations.
And then they have that big tank on
I'm not-
Burrington, yeah.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how that all
Pump it
works.
from there?
I'm not 100% sure how it all
I think
works, but
that's
I
how
can
it
get more information. Tara used to work for them, so I can get that
Yeah.
information.
And I don't like, so that, I know that water, they're not pumping it up this way. It's not something hooking to that way. I know there was discussion a while back, a year plus back, about sending it north, North Pownell. But it didn't go anywhere. So
If they could
kind of
pump
a
it,
net.
if they could pump it to a tank somewhere, a large, very large tank that's high up, then it would be gravity fed. to
Right,
the-
and that's what they have now with that Burrington Road tank. The question in my mind is what's the capacity? How much water is there available? Because that's a limit, just like the sewer's a limit. And so it may be all moot. I don't know.
But again, as far as I know right now, the town has no hands on town water. So, because that's my question going to be to the BCRC, is some of the rules say water and sewer.
Right.
So does that regulate have to be both, or is it going to be, can it be one?
It does have to be both,
I think it has to, I think.
but they consider those fire districts as municipal water. So anywhere that the town offers sewer and there's that water from the fire district, then those are the areas that those changes would apply to.
So currently it'd be probably just that one spot.
So we kind of have to think, have to find out how practical it's going to be to get this water to different places. Otherwise, we're talking about having a builder come in and do something that they can't really do because they don't have the water
We need to find out the limits.
or what it's going to cost to expand. Who would be the person to speak to on that? About water?
Don't we have a
Well,
water department or something?
we have a sewer department,
Sewer department.
but the town of Pownell doesn't have a water department because we don't have municipal water.
Right. Huh.
But apparently we need to,
Well, we don't
having
need to.
municipal-
The bylaw changes from the state just dictate if you have it, that's what you have to allow. We don't have it.
Right.
Yes, they might consider that a quasi municipal one, but that's still going to be limited to whatever is down there. And if they don't have capacity, then you can't force them to expand their operation.
Well, the
They
state
don't have capacity.
the Alta Trailer Park on there.
Sorry, Jim?
The Alta Trailer Park's on there now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's, well, max, I think,
how many people are in there?
50, 58,
50 families?
Yeah. 50 houses. Yeah, I think if I read it right, the Home Act says, water and sewer, but if we don't have capacity, then that's, it's not like
Another
we're
issue.
obligated to provide.
Yeah. It's the same thing with the sewer.
It's not that we don't have capacity, we don't have infrastructure.
Well, it could be either, but any of those reasons would be a reason to say no to somebody who wants to do a development.
Yeah.
Right, and that would be the DRB making a decision based off of those rules, if those rules apply. Or can apply even to that, so like if Mike passes it on to the DRB, then the DRB would sit and try to decide whether those rules would work for a development or that person in general, that permit. If it doesn't, then we would deny a permit and say it just doesn't work for the town, so.
So it seems like we're covered in terms of nobody can come in here and, suddenly start developing stuff. The question is, do we want someone to come and develop stuff? And if so, then what would it cost to get us to the point where we could support that? And I don't know the answer to that.
Yeah.
we don't know
But I think we're talking that we do want people to come in and
Well, maybe.
build
Had two issues.
small businesses.
It depends. I mean, if it's going to cost us, $1 million to do the water to get a couple of extra houses, no, not worth it.
I know.
We'll do something else,
Yeah, that's where it comes down to like what Dave was saying. It's going to be a cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
Because as much as we would all love added business and population growth, it's not worth it to the rest of the taxpayers to bring in,
Right.
a 15 home unit.
Right. Now, the other aspect of that is, as they put their own wells in, So if somebody wanted to do and I know as far as like Jimmy will tell you the same thing, on a DRB would be like, we could be saying, listen, if you guys are putting in a well and you certified by the state and says it'll, handle 15 units.
Yeah.
Then the rest of the stuff would be approved. So we would approve a permit based off of them saying that it's approved that well is good.
And septic, right?
Well, they might
But then,
put it in a
but then at that point, they still have to figure out if they're hooking to the town septic, can they hook to it?
Right. Can you?
Or if they're doing private septic, then they have to go through all that extra permitting on top of it.
250, everything else.
It's not an easy process. It's
No.
not likely to happen.
It's not like it was 40 years ago where.
Yeah. I mean, we still pretty much on demand. I mean, if this permit looks good, we'll approve them on that day. The hard part is on most of the ones that I know me and Jimmy have been doing. On those ones, we're just looked at whether the state was approved or not. And a lot of the stuff had to be approved by state with what they were doing. So we just looked and they go, yep, everything's approved. We're like, okay, if it's approved for them, then we're good. Because it matches everything that we would do. So,
Which is probably the way zoning bylaws are going to go over the next
exactly.
decade or so.
Exactly. There's gonna be that same process every time somebody's gonna wanna work on them. I'm gonna skip to, as part of our discussion, we can bounce back and forth with that. With the municipal sewer, follow up in the discussion, I wanna just read it real quick here. This is from Darcy to me, and it just kind of throws in a little bit of that, what we can do with the septics and stuff like that. So it says, we do have room for growth within, and I asked her specifically, let me say that. I asked her specifically, do we have room for growth? Is there a possibility that we can expand and be able to put on businesses and things like that? So she goes, we do have room for growth within the limits of our defined sewer system area. Growth is encouraged within the areas and businesses are welcome, of course. Each of the three sewer service areas, North Pownell, Pownell Center, and Pownell Valley, have different capabilities due to the different size stations. Sewer mains and force mains located within those areas. Therefore, we have the process to determine if those proposed business models are feasible regarding sewer. Once a potential business determines what the nature of the business is, that their flow requirements will be and where they were wished to be can be connected. We can evaluate if that is applicable sewer main capacity and pump station capacity, if it's adequate for their plan. Casually, anyone feeling like there's anything else, you have information, you can contact Darcy on that. If you have any more questions, email her. So, but she's basically saying, yes, there's a capacity for it. They just need to know what it is so that we can jump at it. So if somebody says, hey, I'm going to be using
Is she
enough for
saying-
20 volume.
If she's saying they have capacity, they just need to add a pump or something like that?
So somebody says, hey, I'm gonna hook up 20 houses. So that 20 or enough that would flow of 20, then they would focus on, okay, is that capacity for that pump capable of doing it? That she could go through it all. She just needs to know what flow rates and stuff like that.
Yeah, she doesn't say in that what capacity she has available, just
Not
if somebody
available.
applies, then she'll let you know if it
If
works.
it works or what they would have to increase to.
So we know what kind of business
So
it
this
is.
is, to me, that's really germane, because if we're talking about developing a plan,
Right.
I want to know if it makes sense for us to think about adding
Yeah.
businesses here. And if it turns out we don't have capacity, then, I need to know that.
The problem is we can't determine that until somebody applies and does something or wants.
Might be able to find out she's at 85% capacity or something like that, that could give us a sense of, just scale.
I would say reach back out to her and ask her, be like, in terms of say, single family units
What about,
on each of the three, if you wanted to add single family units, how many single family units could you add in each of the three districts?
Well, what about a restaurant? I think
Well,
a
let's
restaurant
ask
would be
her how
a-
many, we could ask her a million different combinations. I say let's start with how many single family homes could you add? Because the state is pushing toward, added housing. How many single family homes can you accommodate?
And the question then is single family homes with 4 children or,
Yeah, we define single family home as I would say 4.
Yeah, family of 4.
is
It gets a start.
is the septic, the systems in town self-supporting? Does the town have to give them money or are the?
You mean
fees that
people
they're-
with private septic?
The municipal system that we're talking about, that Darcy is in charge of.
we pay on the bond, people that are on it. $75.
Yeah, everybody in town pays toward the bond.
Pays
Okay,
whether you use it or not, and
Yeah.
the people that use it pay extra.
They pay a quarterly fee.
okay.
And then if you want to get hooked to it, essentially you are responsible as the homeowner for the hookup from your house to the line and the
Yeah.
town is responsible for the rest.
So presumably going closer to capacity would make it more cost effective as long as we have that extra capacity for when there's a flood or something like that, that just overwhelms the system. And that's obviously the problem. I don't know what full capacity looks like. It's got to be less than every ounce they could push through the pipe.
I don't know enough about the system.
No, I don't
Yeah,
either.
so if you don't mind, reach out to Darcy and ask her that. I would ask her about added capacity on the 3 in terms of single family 4-member households.
What about adding one restaurant?
Well, that just it, then at that point you need, how big a restaurant, how many bathrooms are you going to use? What kind of
Right,
water are you?
that's what
Because there's a big difference between, say, another Dollar General, where
Right.
you have essentially private use bathroom versus a restaurant where you're going to be running sinks, dishwashers, possibly small laundry service for
Right.
doing your own
Depends
linens,
how many
bathrooms.
tables.
And that's the problem we have, like, if you say business, what's a business first off? You have to know what it is and what that flow rate is, and the flow rate's usually figured out by the state. I don't know,
Right.
so like if.
But it's going to be different.
To.
It's going to be different for a Dollar General that doesn't use hardly any water.
Right,
Other than some toilets being flushed by employees.
Right.
And a restaurant which has dishwashers or, sinks running and.
right. And that's why,
Customers and, employees.
right, that's why she's saying, once somebody applies or is looking to apply for something.
Well, I think the
then it
worst
should
case,
have a better
the
idea.
worst case scenario would be some sort of restaurant.
Mhm.
Let's see, if she has
Down
the
here?
capacity for that.
Is she running a restaurant down here? Did she get, the Blue House here?
Yeah, I don't think it's.
You mean the purple one?
Yeah,
If that was supposed to be a restaurant, that was all approved, right?
Yeah,
right.
But was that going on sewer?
Yes, it was.
It was.
She was gonna charge pretty much, remember what the restaurant up here? She asked for the outrageous amount of money to hook up the sewer.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I think that's
I'm not
right
either.
before
I was talking to
started.
yeah, I don't remember what it was
It
either.
was ridiculous.
Yeah,
And they kind of shot it down. Said,
They never ended up opening that
No,
restaurant.
they never did.
Well, maybe.
But they
Well,
were-
COVID hit and I'm sure other things
It was
happened.
after COVID.
there's a few things going on, but.
Yeah.
Yeah. The DRB went there and looked at the guy down back, complained about water running down. We went there.
Yeah.
And the lights and stuff.
Oh, okay.
I mean, there's a lot of things that put in a business. It's not just here it is, plug it in. There's a lot of things. I mean, I know, I'll just say from the DRB perspective, we looked at lighting, we looked at permeable grounds, if they're gonna put concrete in or blacktop in or gravel. I mean, we looked at every aspect. If it's on the highway, you gotta have curb cut. That was on the state thing, it would have to be done.
Right.
I mean, there's a lot of steps that we go through to try to put something in, but as far as like the rules and stuff that we're trying to put in place, the big thing is it capable of being put in town? And what's that capability look like? Is it just gonna be sewer hookup for them? Is it gonna be this, or do they put their own in? I mean, they can still have business come into town that doesn't hook to the sewer system if they're gonna put in their own system and it's, gets certified by the state, so. It
Which
does,
is a whole different set of
What's the-
circumstances needed.
right,
Because then suddenly you can't really go in on a half acre plot.
Right,
Suddenly you
it's gonna
need
be-
more room.
It's gonna be bigger, yeah.
You gotta have your own engineered system.
Region more or less has septic. And, they have their own water. They don't have septic. So that's, two things,
Yeah,
private well,
private wells, yeah.
and then they are on septic.
Yeah.
They got on septic.
I think the draw to coming to this town is that we do have sewage.
We do this, so that's why I say, reach out,
We have village.
Yeah.
get some more information, and then
sewage
finding
system,
out what our
the
potential
waste,
capacity
yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Will help
As
direct us.
opposed to someone
give us an
opening in
idea.
Shaftesbury or Arlington.
But it sounds like here's this restaurant who wanted to hook in and it was going to be exorbitantly expensive to do it. So we probably frightened them away.
I don't know, they were pretty close to opening.
Yeah, they were. And, I think Mike kind of talked him down to a more reasonable amount of money. It was like 2,500, I think, to hook up.
2,500, it's not unreasonable.
For a restaurant.
No, I know
Spending all that money.
Well, they thought it was. Yeah.
Huh.
That's why they backed down?
I don't know, be honest with you. I just know that it's been a year since that happened.
They had an architect,
So see that quarterly.
Yeah,
the whole restaurant
Yeah.
was designed already and
144,
Yeah.
so that is a lot.
they've been through everything through the state.
144, so 20.
Everything was approved.
Right.
Significant.
Maybe they didn't think they would spend that much money.
So it'd be really interesting to learn what happened there and what frightened them away. Because if we're trying to make a plan, it'd be nice to figure out what are the obstacles right now.
right. And they had a plan.
Yeah, it sounds like they were pretty far down the road.
They made a lot of things. We went, they
The husband and wife.
things and, like you said, curb cuts and,
Right.
all kinds of things.
Remember-
I went through this in my pizza place upstairs
Yeah,
and I got it through, but, it took a lot. It took a lot.
Yeah.
yeah, no, like I said, we went through quite a bit of stuff with it. I mean, we were site visits and things like that.
You don't know what the straw was for them?
Remember the
No,
neighbor?
everything at that point, I think everything at that point seemed like it was going forward.
Water coming down
The
there.
neighbor
Right,
was
the
concerned with
neighbor was
lighting,
water.
and they put up a fence, right?
We had a privacy fence to put up because they were complaining that the lights would shine through their windows. They were afraid of more water going down, so we looked at what drainage was in that area. I mean, we went through, in my view, I think in your view too, is probably, I thought it was pretty much set at that point when we did approve a permit. I thought it was pretty much set.
I thought they were ready
Nothing happened.
to
Just
start altering the place and move in.
So is there somebody we could contact to learn from this process?
Who are those people?
Yeah,
I don't know who.
I'd have to check back on that.
Yeah.
Permits are for the,
Seems like it'd be very educational, you know?
Yeah, good
Yeah.
place to start.
probably Matt would know more of that for the DRB.
Yeah, DRB would know, yeah.
He's a DRB chair. He'd probably know. I think he knows who all
Yeah, I'd like to learn, you know, what are if we're trying to attract business and then businesses say no,
Right.
let's find out why.
So I think this goes back to like what the BCRC was saying as far as the zoning changes proposed for like light industrial use.
Mhm.
It would pretty much apply to anything else we want to do. Lack of sewer, lack of water, and the cost upgrades if the town decided to try to tackle such a project. So,
I'm lucky because I got 3 spots on my side of the road, which helps the people next door if they're gonna buy that property next to me. They can have sewer,
of.
because I've got it.
Oh, you've got a hookup there that they
I've got
can
3
be,
hookups.
okay, yeah,
And just took advantage of it when it was offered.
right.
And
but you're actively paying for hookups that you don't use.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
we got 3 hookups.
So those could be other businesses
Oh,
along.
yeah, they could. Gary could have it next door
Yeah,
and, the people in, by the place next door.
the old Dave's Market, whatever it was.
Yeah, I've got family down in North Pownell on French Hill, same thing.
Yeah.
Three plots that aren't being used, but they all have active sewer that they're paying for. Cause if they decide to do it,
They
they have it, they don't have to go through
Makes
the
the
permit
property
process
a
to get hooked
lot
up.
more valuable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause it's considered developed land, cause there's
Yeah.
already power and sewer and already wells there. So,
Oh, that's great. Let's build.
well, they're tiny lots.
Oh.
And another thing for me, and my personal opinion on it is I don't want to be restricted to saying a business can't come in unless it's going to hook up to the system. If it has enough land and they they want to put the money into their own systems and stuff. I think that all should be
Sure.
still part of
As long
doing.
as it's state approved.
I mean, the rules that came in says, it's saying, when you read through those, it says water, sewer hookups, they allow that stuff. But I want to make sure that we're.
Well, I mean, I want to say the town looked into doing a municipal water source years ago in other locations. I know North Pownell was ruled out due to the uranium levels in the mountain. It was just over Vermont EPA limits. And, you know, the racetrack down there for everything that's going on down there would have been a great water source, but that's its own
And it's,
situation.
Yeah,
So I don't know if there was any place else that could be considered. I think it was put forth at one point to try to put one up toward like Barber's Pond area.
Yeah.
But I don't know what happened with that one.
there's no.
I bought it,
real good-
guy died, and then somebody else bought it, and
Right.
it's in kind of in limbo.
Yeah,
And it's tough because you gotta have a good enough water source coming
Yeah.
in. You can get water for single family houses easy enough. The rates are lower for those versus a development or municipal water. You had to have a good flow.
And there was a place to build a place. I mean,
Yeah,
there was a lot of cabins there for a long time.
Yep.
When the racetrack was here,
yep.
a lot of guys stayed there.
They had a lot of water down in that one.
I was gonna say, I think most of the ones that are right around the pond right there just all have shallow wells.
Yeah.
I know one of my cousins, he's there, he's only got like a 30-foot well.
Yeah.
Oh, that's scary.
Well, he's right on the pond, he never runs dry.
It never runs dry, but how's that water quality?
It-
It gets some filtration when it's underground, but.
Most people don't drink the water.
Yeah, pretend you're in Mexico, don't drink the water.
Just drink it anyway. Throw a tablet in.
I don't really think there's much more we can discuss about this other than getting more information from Darcy.
Yep.
And then if we want to pursue putting it into the town plan, so essentially in my mind, if we decide we want to try to rezone and designate areas where we think housing development and business development would be good, then at that point, it would be up to the select board and the zoning board to figure out how they want to get there. So I mean, we can put everything in. We could say we want, you know, mile high skyscrapers in town.
Yeah. Meant to amount to nothing.
Yeah.
I do have a question. We moved the table because there's a chat on Zoom that I couldn't hear, but I haven't been here for a town plan update before. Select board gave Tara permission to apply for the municipal planning grant to use towards the update. I think we have to put it out for like a bidding process.
Yeah.
And then from there, do you guys work on it and then submit that to BCRC? And they do the formatting? Do you know the process? Do you want me to look into it? I'm just trying to gain clarity so that
Yes. Could you look into it?
yeah.
I'm pretty sure the way it works is we come up with ideas, then we talk to the BCRC. They kind of help be like, well, this would work, this wouldn't. They kind of help direct us.
Okay.
And then they'll do like the legal side of it as far as like drafting everything. And then
Okay.
they'll bring it back. We debate it. We say we want to do it. Then if we like it, then it ends up going to the public hearings and
Now,
I
I wasn't part of the
Yes.
town plan rewrite. I got on just after that. But when they did the bylaws, the last bylaws, I was in that, doing that work.
Okay.
And what BCRC did at the time was, took the bylaws with them. They went through it, said, here's the new rules and stuff. Here's what the town plan has in it. And then they came back with rough draft of what those sections. So we went section 1, section 2, section 3, section 4. And he just went through them like that and then he brought it back to the table and he went over highlighted stuff that he said, this is the change. And this is what it used to be, like left in there, and then what the change would be.
Okay.
And then we just sat as a thing, yes, we approve all that and didn't approve it. So it was a pretty, I mean, a long
I
process.
came on
but
for the tail end of the zoning bylaw changes after
Yeah.
the town hall plan.
Yeah, and it was a long process, but I think that sped up the process because again, they took out almost 80 pages of the last one.
Yeah, they
So-
consolidated a lot of redundancy.
There was so much
And there
repetitive.
was a lot of stuff that didn't apply anymore due to state regulations.
Right.
Some of them did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there's a ton of data in there and maps and waters and this.
Oh, yeah, because the town plan shows like the whole inventory of everything available to
Correct.
the town.
And so
Is all that
I assume that needs to be updated, or do we assume it's
Most
the
of
same?
that kind of information really isn't gonna have changed, like the topography hasn't changed.
Right.
The water tables haven't changed, I mean, for the
we
most
know
part,
that?
the woodlands.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So it's, I would say as a town plan is gonna be like, what do we want to add? And then we're gonna add those things to see where it would go in at. They'll probably help us put it in the right locations,
Okay,
but, we're just gonna say, like we've been talking
so
about.
it's
We
a,
want to add something like
What
this.
about
We
that
want to
large
add this.
property that the town owns
So
now?
that's what we're gonna try to
That
add.
large property that. the-
Oh, yeah, that'll end up having to get listed on there and,
Mhm.
Yeah,
so, all right, so. I would say have Hannah reach out and probably need to schedule, well, we'll have to do the request for bid and,
Yeah, we gotta do all that process first.
yeah, so.
Then we'll get approval from when,
So
You guys are done.
should we then just motion to send it to the select board to ask them to approve?
I don't know if we had, I don't think we had to motion it to approve it. We just sent a recommendation
to approve what? I'm not.
to that.
I
remember doing
Send a
that.
request for proposal out.
Yeah,
For bidding and
I
helping
see.
us craft the town plan.
Clarity about how that whole process works.
Okay,
Um,
thank you.
yeah.
yeah.
Is the select
Yeah, I don't
board
remember.
bidding it out?
I think we just said it.
No, the select board handles all that.
Yeah,
They handle when it comes to the money, they handle it.
It strikes
We
me,
just-
it would be great to identify a couple of people who were involved in the last time this was written, so we could talk to them about what worked well and what they wish they hadn't done, or, I mean, let's start with a little bit of information. I don't
Or back
have.
on YouTube videos, they have videos of every single
Well,
meeting.
I don't know if I necessarily want to watch every deliberation that they ever had, but I mean, I know one person that was involved in the last plan. If we could identify a few other and just pick their brains for 15 minutes, I mean, we could do that offline, whatever, just to,
yeah. I mean, you can look into those types of things. What I think we should do is everybody just put down ideas that they wanna, that they think about a town plan could have in it.
the town.
The town plan's available. You can read through it too. So,
Pretty basic with flat,
right.
I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure the packet that just got emailed to us
It's part of,
has the existing town plan attached to it.
yes.
yeah.
Right.
And it's quite, there's a lot in there.
There is a lot in there.
And a lot of recommendations and a lot of priorities and, and I don't know if any of them have been followed up on or if they've all been followed up on or anything, but I have a lot of self-educating.
Nothing really's been done since it was put in, really. We haven't done
Right.
anything in Parliament.
Right. So it's not, the town plan's really not gonna change a lot. I don't believe.
No.
It's just gonna have some things added. So
Right.
whatever we decide we want to add, we're just gonna add it to it. That will kind of stay.
Yeah, the town plan just sets the vision that this is what we would like to aim toward.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the select board and the DRB then help try and guide us there.
Right.
And
And we'll meet with the DRB.
not everything's gonna happen. I mean,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
extreme example, like I said, we could say, we want to become the new New York City. Doesn't mean it's gonna happen.
Right.
Yeah.
You think the select board would approve that? I don't know.
No, I don't think they would approve it.
We're the same.
Yeah.
No, but we just want to put our view, what we believe the view is, and we'll all agree to that motion going forward. We
Yeah.
like it. We say this is what we want to see written in it, and we'll get that stuff put in.
Okay,
And once we get, the plan shouldn't take that long.
okay.
Because it's not like we're rewriting the whole plan. We're just gonna update some things that we wanna update in it. Our views of what we see the town moving forward with.
Yeah, like for me, my major thought is I would like to see 346 and 7 develop more into commercial,
Area.
commercial thoroughfare.
Ability.
That's what I would like. That's why I would like to see us try to shy away from the more residential use along 7 and 346 and try to make it more open to commercial. Because once you lose those to residential, you'll probably never get them back.
Never get it back, yeah. And here,
And honestly, those are going to be your best chances for getting any type of commercial business in.
Yeah.
Is along those two
and
corridors.
I know when they did that last one, I was not happy with it. Again, I only had one voice at the time on it.
Now you-
But they did a section down the southern end, I'll say the southern end, past the parking areas. So once you go down around, you get back down to where, Oak Hill road is right there.
Yeah.
So once you get down into that area along that side of the road right there, they only put a 50-foot side there. So you can, 50 foot of land is all you got going off the road. And how do you put a business in that? I was like, well,
Zoning,
right. So when they laid out the lane basically for the zoning of it,
so maybe we.
it's only 50 feet. So if you're going.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about, and stuff like that. Like, what can we do to make it more business
We
friendly?
need, we need more space.
Well-
We need the ability to be able to put it in. There's room like your field.
And then as somebody who ran a business for many years, and you can probably chime in on this too, you need traffic.
Yes.
You know, so how we get more people to stop at these places, and that's a whole nother part. Now, I've been told, and I don't know any data, that there've been a lot of large houses built out in the woods around in Pownell.
There is.
Recently.
Yeah.
So there are more people moving in, and they're relatively affluent. So this is good.
Yeah,
for our
Pownell's
tax
not a
base.
poor town when you look at the breakdown of the population.
Right. So they're all going somewhere else. What is it?
Yeah, well, everybody is. If you want to go anywhere to eat, you're going someplace else. You want a job, you got to go someplace else. There's really nothing in Pownell besides we've got Stewart's,
That's
we got Winchester's, and we've got.
bring a restaurant.
Out what we can do to.
We, been thrown around in the past few years, laundromats, more restaurants, small. It doesn't have to, they don't have to be big, but like that was, we were all for it. That restaurant to go in over
Yeah.
here. It's a small little place, but we're like, absolutely, put it in.
So I want to find out why it didn't work.
Sitting down on 346. Everybody, we're all for
It's
it.
just,
It was just got expensive and it didn't work out for her, whatever, but.
Ask her about a laundromat, yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that's
I believe the complaint with the laundromat was, it was
water use.
the amount of water usage would,
Right,
And
it would overwhelm the system.
The
yeah.
location is, yeah, I was thinking about it in my store, okay? And people in the trailer park would live there,
Mhm.
the Alta trailer park.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's not,
Right.
wouldn't work.
Really?
I mean,
It would discourage other people from coming in there.
Mhm.
The park people.
Well, also.
And we had restaurants here. I mean, Jaeger House was right here. That was a nice place at the time.
That's when we had the racetrack. And
Yeah, that was a people.
It was just that we've lost all that stuff and we're trying to figure out how do we get that stuff to come back. When people are here, it's just a matter of.
And the current town plan, in my opinion,
People.
yeah, the current town plan kind of abandoned that, and it really targeted Pownell, just pretty much just said, we give up, we're gonna be just a suburb.
Right.
I bet you.
Maybe that's all Pownell will ever be, but I don't think we should give up on the opportunity to try to do something different.
Well, and quite frankly, that's what got me excited about the BCRC proposal there, because it seemed like, oh, slow the traffic down, get a couple of crosswalks. Now you're seeing the businesses. Now, if we could get that brownfields dealt with and have a few more businesses there that, and that's a 10-year process or more, but let's make a step.
Right. And that's why we're like I said, all the businesses up through here right now, we're like all for it. We'll keep putting them in as long as people want to be there.
But those are some of the ideas that you put forward in the town plan. The BCRC can help, or if we put it out to bid, whoever wins it. I always say BCRC because honestly, most of the time, they're the only ones that ever bid on it.
Well,
Anybody's welcome to, and I would work with anybody.
and they've done a good job and it's a pretty reasonable price. And
Yeah,
we know.
and they help like craft the language and point you in the right direction on what would work, what wouldn't.
I mean, they've worked good. It's just a matter of, again, bid. If somebody else bids on it and they get it,
Sure.
I'll work with whoever that is, but it's, I think
course,
the
they could-
biggest thing is moving forward on what we want to, our view. What our decisions are is moving forward on. So the things to look for our next meeting will just be looking at.
But it sounds like, at least
Ideas.
with the five of us,
Right.
it does sound like everybody wants to like angle toward some kind of business opportunities.
Right.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
And to keep people here, that's
Yeah, help
best
the
way.
community, and we need to expand the tax base, so.
Yeah.
You can't, you were a destination place with the racetrack. A lot of people came here, the Jaeger House was here, there was place there,
Motel,
whatever.
yeah.
People stayed here.
Mhm.
And they come up for the weekend with the horses. And it's just a different era. All of a sudden it's gone now.
Yeah.
And it's,
I still remember it as a kid.
Yeah.
On race nights, traffic, I remember backed up almost to 22.
Oh, yeah.
46 would be shut down.
Whoa.
But who took the brunt of it was Williamstown, and they didn't bitch.
Mhm.
I mean, they had cops there that were around the circle. They worked here anyway. And, hey.
But if there was a
it's what-
small restaurant, people would come up from Williamstown,
Right.
people would come down from Bennington.
They went all the way to the line.
I can remember Jaeger
Yeah.
house up there was always full. That parking lot was always packed. But I mean, the racetrack's
Those
gone
were
and
different
Yeah,
days.
that's it.
they kind
Not a
of,
destination place anymore. So you,
No.
so you more or less came back to a bedroom community.
yeah.
And that's what we are. But I think we're trying to change that.
Right.
But it's,
We're on the right track with her septic though.
Mhm.
She's the boss as far as we know.
Certainly
Yeah, because I mean,
Critical.
my vision would be to try to like get something like a Dunkin' Donuts or a Starbucks, something, an anchor store, kind of like, a name brand to set up shop, even if something small. Then if they're doing good and surviving, maybe it can get another business owner to be like, oh, maybe that's not such a bad place. That place is doing good and surviving. Maybe I should look into it.
Well, the business in Powell are all good. I mean, no one's losing any money. Trust me. I mean, Stewart's, the liquor store, the car dealers.
Everybody seems.
Yeah.
Down there, that's the first place over the line.
Yeah,
And it's, if you're paying $15 for a pack of cigarettes and you come over and buy it for 11, you're gonna go over there and pay 11.
absolutely. Well, that's why I think like it's foolish of Pownell to not try to take advantage of the fact that Williamstown and North Adams are right there,
I've always said
right
that.
across the border from New York State.
Well, it's like the dog pound, it's such a good piece. Up there, they're quiet. They're next to the motel, but the motel never bitch. And they do a good business.
Yeah.
They have good business. Not Powell people, but I say what you can't build in Williamstown, you can build in Powell.
Yep.
And that you can.
Yeah, they
But the
usually
big houses up there-
restaurants down
Two
there.
big houses being built across the road,
Right.
I mean.
That's why I think like Williamstown kind of has the market cornered as far as like small mom pop restaurants. They don't really allow chains in there. Well,
You could do that.
here we are right here.
I know. That's the idea. If you can get a little more restaurants in, the Jaeger House turn into another small restaurant again. It could easily, it's just somebody, we gotta attract those people to get them to come here and want
Yeah.
to do that.
Yeah, you gotta.
But that's the first step is the town plan and then the zoning bylaw changes and then if need be, looking into infrastructure upgrades and improvements.
Yeah.
First steps first, town plan. First step before that, we gotta
Yep.
get the request
And add to
bid out there and start with that.
selectively, add to it,
Yeah,
be smart.
exactly.
Yeah, so I think all we have to do is just be an approval of sending it to the select board to go. We have the approval from the select board now, so.
Yeah, to start working on it. So,
So we can just say that we want to go forward with that.
Yeah.
okay, so we need to
Select
figure this
board.
out.
The select board will get the ball rolling on that.
I think you thumb through the town plan real quickly.
Yeah.
Most of it's gonna stay.
Yeah, it's not gonna change.
yeah, a lot of it, like a lot of the information stuff in there, as far as the resources in the town, I don't see a lot of that changing.
Nothing.
Maybe some of it will, if the EPA has changed any flood zone regulations, that kind of stuff, like all that will have to be updated. But the maps, as far as like the topography of the town, the underlying
Yeah.
geological features, I don't really think that's gonna have changed a lot.
Well,
Well, there's wetlands back here, has that been addressed by the state?
So the cleanup one here on the corner,
Yeah,
I don't think any of their maps have changed, but as far as I know, like they're addressing it because they're doing the cleanup thing there. But
somebody's supposed to go in and dig up what's in there. The state's supposed to go in there some.
oh, I don't know about that. I thought they were just doing whole containment and monitoring. Listen, I'm probably wrong. I'm out of the loop on that part of it. So
Yeah.
I heard it.
I thought somebody was gonna come in and a girl was gonna dig it up and see what the contamination is and what the water is in the one section.
You talking about the brownfields up in,
Yeah, the brownfields across the
well,
street.
so that's what the town was gonna do.
Right,
And then the owner decided, oh, wait a minute, if I do this, then it's gonna be worth a lot more money. So now he's doing it, but he doesn't have access to the money is what I've heard. And so he's not doing the full boat.
yeah, there's a whole thing. The town's not involved in it, and
okay.
there was
I knew the guy.
potential for us to be involved in it, and there was a falling out, and
All right. So
I'm not.
Okay.
That I'm not in a
Not the
position
most
to,
ideal communication.
It might not be that contaminated.
it's private property and it's being dealt with.
Privately owned, yeah, okay.
That's the way to do it.
And we can't
Because
put
of
it
the-
on our timetable, damn
Because of
it.
that conversation, yeah, you're not giving it away anymore.
Personally, as private citizen, I was all for the town trying to help out.
Yeah.
To try to improve it.
Yeah,
So
Yeah.
well, hey, okay,
that's me, Brian Harris, private citizen speaking just
I
that.
got you, yeah, oh, yeah.
So anyway, I think we've jibber jabbered enough. I think we've wasted the viewers' time on this.
I want to move on to the planning commission live streaming discussion. Anybody? I know Michelle's,
So the select board briefly discussed that and pretty much the select board sets whether or not it gets broadcast. So the planning commission doesn't really get a say in that matter. The select board set that. So as far as I'm concerned, from our end, that's the end of it. The select board says they don't want to
They're
Facebook
deciding.
Live it, they don't Facebook Live it. Just like the select board sets the contract with Cat TV for broadcast, the select board determined that we weren't going to broadcast the planning commission meetings anymore to cut costs.
Mhm.
Same thing with Facebook Live. Not necessarily as a cost cutting measure, but the select board can determine if they want to. The meetings are still open to the public. They're still available via Zoom. We're not dissuading community involvement.
So comfortable with that.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's that. Because if you can watch it on Facebook Live, then you can watch it on YouTube, you can watch it via Zoom, or you can still come in person.
Okay,
Okay,
there's our discussion. All right. Well, with that, I'll look for public comment. If there's anybody out there.
Yes, Tom has his hand up.
Hi, Planning Commission. Tom Zolper, Center Street. First of all, thanks for your work tonight and all the time. And it sounds like you got more ahead of you with the town plan. And best of luck with that. It sounds like maybe Jim is saying it's not going to be as difficult as a 2-year process, but it sounds like there's a lot involved. I'm confused. I've read through the plan, the existing plan, and I know different parts of the town are zoned for different things. So we're already allowing, for instance, multifamily housing in the village area. I'm wondering, what can the planning commission do, if anything, to encourage the actual, development of businesses and more multifamily housing? I mean, you can certainly lay out, the zoning for it, but it sounds like there's not a whole lot you can do to actually encourage things to happen, and unless I'm misunderstanding.
So effectively, this is the way I understand it, is we will help craft the town plan, which we chart the course. Like we
Yeah.
say, we want to go from A to B. And then basically then it's up to the select board to figure out, okay, what do we need to do to get us there? And then it's crafting the bylaws to help direct us there. It doesn't mean we'll get to that destination. But we just kind of say, well, we would like to see more economic development. This is what we're proposing. We would like to change zoning bylaws, maybe zoning regions, reclassifying. I don't know. This is all stuff that we would have to work with the BCRC on to figure out what we can do, what's allowed, what's not allowed. Because I know a lot of the rural village and all those designations have their own restrictions tied to them. So
Right.
some things we might not be able to change. And if this is where we bring in the outside consultant to help kind of guide us, because none of us here have worked on a town plan before. So that's where we're going to try to seek help.
I think
That
your
seems like
question's a really good one.
It is a good question.
I think what we're trying to do is remove obstacles to doing things.
Yeah.
And that's our role right here, is to remove the obstacles. That makes it easier for somebody who wants to do a development to come in and do that kind of development. We're not in the role of trying to find developers and bring them in. I don't know who is, and that's a really,
Yeah.
question.
But I think
Ultimately, you probably could put it, I don't know what the town's role is to be able to do it, but maybe you could put it on a town website. That we're business friendly, something like that.
It could also be an article in
And a little advertisement at the top.
the Bennington Banner. saying
Yeah.
that we.
Yeah, other than making ourselves available and trying to make it friendly,
Yeah.
there's really not much else we can do. I mean, you can try to do the whole economic development thing where you hire consultants who can try to do like targeted advertisement and spending money on that kind of stuff. But I don't think Pownell as a whole, as a governing body with the tax base, has an appetite for that.
The only
What
people
about
that make money is
something-
the shires. They make money,
Who does?
the shires.
Yes.
And, you don't want to get in bed with them because they make money. Well, what the hell, what's business all about? I mean, they do property here. They've done property here, down in North Pownell.
Yeah.
There's a little place, there, they got some lands. But they're the people that, put things together. I don't know, I've tossed their name out and they've kind of, they make money, well, what's wrong with making money? If it's good, but that's the only people I know around that make money.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's just our goal here.
Yeah.
Is just to make the town available. Make sure
Yeah.
that bylaws are available.
These all sound like good ideas. I mean, Jim, I love that idea. Maybe someone with expertise, thrown in their perspective. Mr. Fowle, I like, you were talking earlier about, is this BCRC Pownell Center plan to kind of improve the look of that stretch of Route 7? Is that something that the Planning Commission can get behind? And maybe just the look of something is an inducement to businesses or to tourists to pull over and stop, I mean, business is all about, we get the traffic through Route 7, but for whatever reason, maybe people aren't stopping.
People go through here every day
Yeah,
to the hospital. You gone by the hospital lately?
Yeah.
You look at the parking lot, I mean, it's full. And then there's another built, and they built another one, and they built another one, and they're all full.
Yeah. Like I have no idea the traffic flow on 7 alone, but I'm sure it's got to be in the tens of thousands a day.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but it was in the study.
It's in the plan.
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had it the other night up here.
Yeah, it was a lot of cars.
57 or whatever was 57,000, but I don't know.
Yeah, it was a big number
Big number.
that goes
Anyway.
through.
A lot of people go through here and they
Yep.
bitch about this place up there.
Yeah.
and I guess that's the key question, is how to get them to stop here, how to get them to stop on 346. But
Yeah.
anyway, I don't want to take up more time. Thanks so much for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you.
It's his speech with Rihanna by his side. And Blake Lively and
Hello, gentlemen. Jim Kosis, North Mason Hill Road. First of all, I just agree with David that I think I hate to see anyone just take a document and just look through it and try to add things to it. I think it comes to like a budget. Let's zero budget at this point and build up to what we need. I think we need a complete review of the plan because I do not see commercial, and this is my opinion, coming into Pownell. I mean, Stewart's is down there for Williamstown. Stewart's was not able to cross the border, so they're there. They're getting the people from Williamstown that are paying a little bit more for the gasoline than anyone else. Yes, it's convenient for us because we don't have a gas station. I do not see the whole feasibility happening on Route 7 at the extent that they came to. Yes, maybe it could be scaled down, but I think what we need to look at in Pownell is that the restaurants are down in Williamstown. The restaurants are up in Bennington. The shops are down in Williamstown. The shops are up in Bennington. It's not that far to travel to get to those locations. I used to travel down to the Berkshire Mall. I don't expect anything to happen in Pownell. I think we need to look at the town plan to say that this is a town that needs more housing and hopefully get a development in here that will build an apartment complex where people can come to Pownell and live. That's going to increase our tax revenues better than having a small little mom and pop store come in. Once that happens, then we change the town plan to get more commercial in here, but we need to bring the people into Pownell to live and develop the tax base, because I do not see manufacturing coming in. I don't see the small businesses, but this is only my opinion from what I'm seeing over the past 30 years that I've been living here that if we can't clean up Pownell, we're not going to attract businesses. Thank you very much and have a good day.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Convicted on both felony counts, he can serve up to 24 years in prison.
What is that?
I think it's somebody watching TV and they forgot to mute.
Background noise on for this.
Any more?
Anybody else?
Anybody?
No, their hands are up.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second on it? Second, all in favor?
All right.
Bye.
Aye.
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night.
Aye.